I found the craziest mock draft you'll ever see. One of the worst ones of the off season. And that's pretty hard to say. We went over some crazy mock drafts. This one's on ESPN from Mike Tannenbaum. He released it today at 6:30 in the morning. And I can tell, even though they try to give you some context, I can tell this one was made to try to keep you scrolling. This one was made to keep you on the site, not made to really just wow you or any way. And let's look at this. Let's just look at this. And then after this, we're going to rank these players for Dynasty Fantasy Football purposes. But man, first off, let's start off looking at the beginning of the mock and what he's talking about. So I'm sliding into the general manager chair for each team with a first rounder and making my own picks. This isn't what I'm expecting, but how I would do it for these teams. Okay, so the thing is, we get a little bit wild here. Start off pretty good here. First round, first pick, 101. Panthers draft Bryce Young. Pretty standard here. You're expecting to be the QB1, QB2. Him going to Carolina. Be one of the top quarterbacks in Dynasty. Being selected in rookie drafts, especially for Superflex. We get that. We're going to have some pieces there. They're trying to transition. Not a bad spot. CJ Stroud over here going to the Texans. Kind of seeing that happen. If any of these quarterbacks go to the Texans, might as well be Stroud. Look for them to rebuild, retool. Might take them a bit for him to develop, the team to develop, the offense to develop. So you may want to be patient with him. Nothing too crazy. Well, let's get down here. And going down the board here. Will Levis to the Colts. Not super crazy at all either. Really a great spot for Levis. Really great. Jonathan Taylor's there. We got some pieces there. We got Michael Pittman. We know they've been bringing in players in the offense. Could be a good spot for him to develop. He's indoors. He's got an arm on him. I like Will Levis in this spot. If he goes to a lot of other teams, I'm kind of scared. Him going here, I'm kind of fine with it. And I could see myself shooting my shot in some leagues about that. Now we get here. Woo! 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 Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Hendon Hooker to Seattle. Oh yeah! And come back from the ACL. Older quarterback prospect. You know what? I've wrote some articles saying, hey, this guy looks like an NFL guy, looks like a first rounder, and that was while he was playing at Tennessee. And I understand it. Has some good things in his game, you know, and can push it downfield. Has done some good things. The value, though, I don't know it's going to be there. I look for him to shoot up boards, though, and I look for him to hold some value. I think this is high. I think this is very high. Don't see this happening. He says he doesn't feel like it's being realistic in his thing, but you know what? That's just a cap out. Yeah, I know what you're doing here. You guys are trying to keep people on the site, and you're just trying to do whatever you can with these mock drafts. Seattle's not going to take Hendon Hooker 5 overall when they know they can get him later. They know this. Why not trade back from here? Why do that? They know that this ain't realistic. This ain't realistic at all. I get it. I like him. I do kind of like him, especially at cost. But now that's out the window with 5 overall. You're looking at an older quarterback coming off of a torn ACL. That's kind of That's kind of scary. There's some good things. He was very accurate. He was very efficient at Tennessee. Had some decent wide receivers there. Jalen Hyatt's going to be possibly going in the first round, maybe second round of this year's draft. You also had Tillman there too. He really pumped those guys up. And you know what? Some people are saying he's from a gimmicky offense. I understand that. But honestly, too, we got some upside with him as well. He's got some size. He's been able to play at the SEC level. 2 good seasons back to back. Then he got hurt. People be talking about him in the first round if he didn't get hurt. Honestly, though, I like him as a quarterback. But this is crazy. This is crazy. Let's move on down here. Doesn't get too crazy from here. But some of the picks, you can tell. Tennessee Titans take Anthony Richardson. Drafted Malik Willis last year in the 3rd round. We're going to double dip, get Anthony Richardson. They're not comparable, but in a way, a certain way, you can kind of make that developmental quarterbacks with high-end rushing ability. Richardson is just on a different level. And really, this is a good transitioning spot, though. Ryan Tannehill's there. Can really bridge the gap for Richardson. He's got 1 year as a starter at the collegiate level. So you're going to need some incubation time here for him to really get ready. You got Derrick Henry there, but who knows how much longer he's going to be able to put up those numbers, be able to be efficient. They got Treylon Burks, and they're probably going to be adding. They're going to be adding if they're getting him. They're going to be spending the 11th overall. Don't hate this, but honestly, you're going to be able to buy him at cheaper prices later. You're going to be able to get him cheaper later. People are going to want to pay up. They see the upside, and they're going to pay that super flex price. You're going to catch him cheaper. And then here, I don't get it why everybody wants to really peg the Texans on double dipping at quarterback and wide receiver. Like, why do they have to do that stack right now? Honestly, like, I could see it. I understand why their wide receiver core is decimated, and that makes sense. But there's also other players at other positions that don't have to be wide receiver on the board that could really help this team out. This team's got a lot of holes in it, but it's every mock draft. I've only had one on this channel that didn't have that. I get it. It's going to take some time here for any of these wide receivers to develop with Texans. It's going to take some time for them to develop in Houston. It's going to take some time because the quarterback's got to develop. The whole offense got to develop. They're changing things out. There's a lot of change over here. Quentin Johnson, I like as a prospect. If you like him like I do, I'm going to try and buy him cheaper. He's going to be cheap in drafts at this spot. If this happens, he's cheap. So you're going to catch him at a good price, which you should, which I'm not mad at that at all. I'll take it value, but I'm not paying up. We got some good tackles coming off the board, more tackles coming off the board. Dalton Kincaid to the Washington Commanders. Something they really need to make. This is a good positional need for the team. But for Dynasty Fantasy Football and all fantasy football purposes, tight ends are going to tight end. There's only a few spots in the league where you can insert a rookie tight end and you feel good about it. Washington's never a good spot you feel good about it. So this is a player that you're just going to buy a few years later. You know what? I like him. I'm going to buy him a few years later. That's how I'm going to value that. Let's move on down. Good. Other picks, look at those. Bijan Robinson to the Buccaneers. Good spot. Bijan Robinson's going to be a good pick wherever he goes for Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're getting him wherever he goes. Him and Rachaad White would be a fun tandem to watch. He would definitely be the 1A, and then Rachaad White would be just another guy there. Bijan Robinson is a player that they don't need to get, but he's also a player that for fantasy football purposes can do well here. Quarterback situation, we're going to have to see how things get fleshed out. That'll change over time. Bijan looks like he'll be getting a good amount of workload early in his career because it's not like they're going to be able to be efficient in the passing game unless something happens that we're not aware of. And Seattle could have made this pick here. They could have made this pick here, by God. They could have done that, and that would have made some sense. They could have got their hooker right there. They could have got him right there. Jack Smith-Njigba, 21 overall to the Chargers. We all love this. We're all going to the moon over this. Yeah, Jack Smith-Njigba, wide receiver 1 for a lot of people. Very good route runner. Slot guy. He's going to be taking over Keenan Allen's role. We see that happening. That's going to happen over time. Jack Smith-Njigba is a good player to go in that spot too. Zay Flowers to the Ravens. And what I think about this is, man, you're going to catch him at a discount. And this Ravens team has not been good to their wide receivers. Things could still happen, maybe over time. You're going to catch him at a discount if you like him. You're going to catch him at a discount if you like him. We don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson. That might change some things. But if he's out, what else you going to do? What else you going to do there at quarterback? Zay Flowers going to the Ravens. Not looking good. And whenever I hear someone going to the Ravens, when I do these mock drafts, someone in the comments saying they're fading him. There's maybe multiple people. He's going to be a discount. He's going to be cheap. A cheaper guy to get. A lot cheaper. And if you like him, go get him at the reduced cost. Jalen Hyatt to the New York Giants. Optimal landing spot for him, considering he's an air yards guy, gets downfield, YOLO balls for Danny Dimes. They were able to get production from some of these jabroni wide receivers. Jalen Hyatt's not the best prospect to come out in the first round. Again, you know what you're getting here, a deep ball specialist. Air yards you're chasing from the week-to-week standpoint, especially for DFS. So Jalen Hyatt to the Giants, this is probably one of his better landing spots. And now Michael Mayer to the Dallas Cowboys. What I think about this is this makes me like Mayer more. Like, think about Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz wasn't a great tight end prospect, wasn't the greatest tight end. This is an upgrade. And you know targets are going to be funneled there. Targets get funneled to the tight end position. We saw the jabroni tight ends on the back end of the roster do some stuff. This is a good spot for Michael Mayer. I will bump him up a little bit in my rankings and my value if he goes to Dallas. This is a spot where you bump him up. If they draft another tight end in the second round, I'll bump that guy up a little bit as well. But only a little bit as well. You're looking at a guy who's going to be a tight end 1. He is going to be a tight end 1. He's a guy you can plug in there early and start for you as an NFL team. His upside's not as high as some of the guys, but upside isn't always there as well for those players. Just because you got the upside doesn't mean it's there. Michael Mayer's a good player, and good targets will be coming his way, and that's all I care about. And I will pump him up a little bit. I'm not going to overshoot my shot, but Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Bills. This makes things murky for some people, especially like James Cook, Damian Harris. Do not rule the Bills out of getting another running back. Do not rule them out. Somebody in the comment section the other day said, hey, Damian Harris could be getting 15 touchdowns. Don't rule them out of drafting another running back. Jahmyr Gibbs is in a good spot here. This is a good spot for his talents. This is a good spot for what he is. Catches the ball in the backfield. He's explosive, can run between tackles. Him and James Cook could be a good tandem for the long term. Damian Harris, good bridge for the future because they're going to have other running backs. Moving on in. Jordan Addison to the Saints. Very interesting situation here with Chris Olave going off as a rookie. Now you get Addison. This is a great deal at 29 for a wide receiver like this. Very productive. You can have them both on the field. Michael Thomas still coming back from that injury, so from that surgery, from that toe or whatever. Also has been hurt for the last 3 years. Can't count on him. And you have to get younger here. You got Derek Carr. You invested in Derek Carr. You have to get some more playmakers. This could be working here for the Saints. Addison's a good get for an NFL team-wise. Maybe fantasy as well, especially if things start to open up. This might be it, and that is it for this draft. So let's rank these guys. Now we're at the tier maker. We're going to rank these guys for Dynasty Fantasy Football purposes. So think fantasy football when you're looking at this, especially for long term. Bijan Robinson, S stud tier. Not moving. Not moving at all. I'm having him in there. We've been looking forward to him all this time. Goes to a great situation. We know he's going to get workload early. We know he's going to be the guy there. We're putting him there. The quarterbacks here are getting interesting. They're getting very interesting. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Right up there. Right up there. I don't think they're moving. I don't think they're moving for me. And I love Gibbs, where he landed at. And I love where Jackson Smith and Jigba landed at. And you know what? When we look at this mock draft and when Dynasty ADP comes out and you look at all these drafts that happen, you're going to see things mixed up. You're going to see this. But we're just going to mix it up a little bit. And that's how it is. I have these guys together in a tier. They're not Young, Gibbs, Stroud, and Jigba. They're all over the place. Because when I'm drafting a bunch of teams. I'm all over the place too. I'm splitting things up. I'm splitting up my portfolio. We can't ignore the quarterbacks. But Will Levis going to the Colts is very important because it's a good situation. This might help his skill set out. He has a deep ball. He's getting high-end draft capital. Anthony Richardson is a gamble, but he's a gamble on hitting up to here. He's a guy that could be the biggest playmaker in the NFL, or he could be the biggest dud in the NFL. Those are what you're looking at. But sometimes you got to make that step. Some people would put him in tier A. And some people would put him up here. We're putting him here. We're being conservative because we don't have to blow our loads on some of these players. Next is Tier C. Tier C is very interesting. Hendon Hooker right now. Hendon Hooker. My goodness. Because I have to take this as if this really happened. And he got the draft capital on this, and we're getting a year wait. When he started, he'll be like 26 or something like that. But he'll have DK Metcalf plus whatever else they have in that time, and that's a lot more than a lot of these other quarterbacks will have. And he was efficient in college, and he had a lot of opportunity in college. Oh my God, it's hard. It hurts. It hurts. I don't even know what to do. It's not even realistic. Let's just put him there, and maybe I remember to come back. The wide receivers are fun. Jordan Addison. You're going to be scared to draft him here. You're going to be scared about him. But I do like him, so let's put him here and see. Let's do this. Let's just put him there, and let's anchor that out. But I do like Jordan Addison in that spot. I like his skill set. I think Zay Flowers is going to be underrated. I think things are going to change in Baltimore within now and next 3 years. I'll catch him cheaper. I like him a lot, and I know the value is going to drop, and I should drop my value too, because you know what? This isn't like a bulletproof class, and I'll just play the values with it. Same thing with Quentin Johnston. I think Quentin Johnston's up here with talent-wise. I like him, but you got to know when the getting's good, and I'm going to buy him later or buy him at value at cheap, and I'm going to rank him at cheap. And then Michael Mayer, I'm going to bump him up a bit, and usually I have him in D tier just because tight end. That being said, Dalton Kincaid here, and I buy my tight ends later. I'm going to push him up the ranks once the full draft's laid out in this situation, up a little bit, maybe a few spots, but still, I want to indicate that here. Jalen Hyatt, first-round wide receiver. I project him to get air yards. I do not project him to be a super stud or anything, but I don't want to sleep on him either. I think from DFS perspective, week to week, I'll be looking at him as a back-end guy that I might be putting in some lineups if I'm in deep leagues. DFS, you might be having stacks with him and Danny Dimes within a year, and you're playing that cheap cost entry. That's what I see from that. But from redraft, from a dynasty perspective, he's the guy you're shooting your shot week to week in this scenario. We got to see how the snaps look, how the targets look. But it looks like deep balls if he's on there doing his thing like he was doing it in Tennessee. Hendon Hooker, we got to go back to this. Could he be here? Could he be here? Let's look at it as this. Because he could be a front C, he could be back a B. Let's just call it back a B. Let me know in the comments what you're doing with Hendon Hooker, because I really don't know. I'm kind of flabbergasted here, going off the rip. Super flex value. Quarterbacks hold value. You're taking that risk. You're taking a risk here. Or quarterback coming off knee injury. But you know he's got some goods in this situation. You know he's got DK Metcalf. You know he's got a running back. You know he's got some pieces. You may not have that with Richardson. You got Treylon Burks, an old running back. You got some pieces with Levis. And Levis is questionable. Young's on a rebuilding team. Stroud's on a rebuilding team. And you're catching Hooker still at a discount, even though he's got draft capital. Draft capital matters too. I don't know what to do with him. Gut tells me here. Head's telling me here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you build your dynasty teams going forward. Helps you for those rookie drafts as well. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.